Great and beautiful morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Hope everyone is having a great morning thus far. I wanted to show y'all. This is all my research right here. Okay, this is all my research. Look at that. Within those books, booklets, and stuff are other publications. Or maybe not this one. Are other publications, authors, books. Look at that. Mark of the Beast, 7 Seals, 7 Trumpets, 3 Woes. There's that booklet on Mary, my book of Yahweh. Here's my other stuff. Look at that. You all need to have some kind of research, people, to even start saying that somebody might be wrong or they could be wrong or whatever. Okay, look at that. See, this is from Herbert Armstrong. I told you I have missing 2 of his booklets, but this is the majority, or most of, rather, of my research. I had another incident last night where this guy was supposedly saying that we were fallen angels and that we were DNA hooked up to DNA chains of darkness. I'm like, I am not an angel, bro. I said, I am a human. I said, I have free will. I have the right to choose. Angels don't. So I asked him, where in the scriptures can I read about DNA chains of darkness? And well, that person hasn't responded back. So, and most people usually don't when I tell them to show me stuff in the scriptures. Like I stated, people, anybody can run their mouths all day, every day, but won't be able to prove you otherwise or prove me otherwise. Okay? If y'all don't have any kind of research and talking to me, I mean, if you want to talk about something, say, hey, I want to discuss something. Don't just start saying, well, now you're wrong. You're wrong. This and that, blah, blah, blah. My pastor said this. I'm not interested in what your pastor says. Okay. And just so you know that I don't have just whatever in here. There you go. Look at that. These are the House of Yahweh newsletters. Okay, and I'll just pick a random one now so y'all don't think I'm lying to y'all. There's another one. See? These are all mostly prophetic words from the House of Yahweh through Mr. Hawkins. These are very, very, very informative studies. So for the layman or for the rest of y'all that all y'all want to do is just say, nah, he's a false prophet, blah, 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 this and that. Hey, this is what he has taught me to do, and he even tells us in his teachings to prove everything for ourselves. We are given the choice to choose through the House of Yahweh. How many of y'all's churches have taught y'all that? Hey, do your own research if you don't believe us. How many of y'all's churches and how many of y'all can comment on my videos and say, yeah, for a fact that you have been told to prove all things for yourself? Probably not. That's why it's real easy for people to run their mouths about anybody else, regardless of who they are. Okay? It's real easy to do that, people. But look at that. I have all my research here handy. Plus, I also have another phone where I can look up stuff if I need to. Okay? So just so you guys know, I do not just talk out of my mouth or out of my ass like a lot of people do. That book right here is The Two Babylons. This one right here. This one is mythology. Here's another. Oh, here's the booklet from Mr. Armstrong right here. So yeah, people, like I said, it's real easy to run our mouths, especially if you don't have any kind of research to back yourself up. Okay, just wanted to show you guys that, show that I am not some just little Fruit the Loop or whatever that just opens my mouth. I can back myself up enough, and I can tell people you're wrong here, you're wrong here, you're right here. Okay, so again, before we all open our mouths, people, have your research with you. Be prepared to answer in and out of season, and so on and so on and so on. This one I was looking for. This one has the first seals described. Look at that. How many of y'all could actually sit there and do this kind of work that we do? This is the kind of stuff that we are told to do through the House of Yahweh, through Mr. Hawkins, to prove all things for ourselves. Look at that. If you notice, the red ink are the scriptures, because I have done a lot of writing while I was locked up for the students in my group. Actually grew a real nice callus on my fingers. But yeah, all this stuff, people, is scriptural. Nothing but scripture. Okay. So again, people, like I stated, if you don't do any research, if you don't do your own research, your own studying, why would you want to sit there, watch these YouTube videos and tell people they're wrong? First of all, okay, like I stated, because you heard one doctrine through your church, but then you watch these kind of videos and you say, that's not true. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. The Catholic Church is a true church. The Catholic Church is a true church. The Vatican over there, Rome, where the Papa is at, that's your true church right there. Okay, and they'll tell you, this is the true church of God. This is what you need to be, your faith. You know, that's what they'll tell you. You want to be a true Catholic Christian, that's your mother church right there. Okay. I stated, people, if you don't do anything, but like I stated, even the House of Yahweh has told us to do our own research, prove everything. Okay, but everything that I've learned is scripture. It's in the scriptures. That's why I stated in my last video, and I was only boasting like a man, not as a spiritual person. That's why people don't comment, because they can't prove the scriptures otherwise. And let me show you this last commentary this guy was giving me, since it is on my video. So I'm not putting him on blast, but I'm just going to tell you what he said. If I can find it. I highly recommend, if you guys and gals start studying prophecies, to follow the YouTube channel of Vatican News. Let's see. I think it was in the video. Let's see. Can't even remember which video it was. Okay. It was on the video of has Satan been cast out of heaven? It's one of my earlier videos, I think. This, y'all can see it. This person, I haven't even looked if it's a guy or a girl, but says, lean not on your own understanding. It says the Revelation 12 war in heaven happened around the time when Jesus was born. Okay. It says, for confirmation, read Matthew 11:12, and from the days of John the Baptist until now the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. Okay. Still doesn't mention anything about Satan being cast out. John 12:31, now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. Okay. But okay, let me tell you what this guy probably forgot to mention. Okay, and he probably forgot to mention, I'll tell you which one. If you look over in Luke 10:18, okay, this gives you an indication that Satan might have been cast out. Okay, and then I'll explain more in that video. He says, behold, let's see, what was it? Oh, 10:18, Luke. And he said to them, I perceive Satan's fall like a lightning from heaven. It doesn't say he just seen it, okay? But there is a prophecy, and if this guy thinks, first of all, that Satan was cast out at that time, then it is a lie, because in layman terms, and not having eyes of prophecy, Satan was already cast out in the book of Isaiah, right? Or in the book of Genesis. But if he had read Job, Zechariah, you'll see that Satan is there presenting herself in front of Yahweh with the other Malachim. Okay, but I've shown y'all in the last video or the one before it where Lucifer, Satan is cast out in the midst of the tribulation. And I think there are a few videos that do mention that. Okay, but I didn't make mention that I got it from those videos. I just shown y'all in the scriptures in the book of Revelation chapter 8. Okay, so anyways. So then I commented, these comments don't speak of Satan's casting out. So then that person responded by saying there's only one gospel, the gospel of reconciliation. Our other gospels are accursed. Christ came into their kingdom to reconcile fallen angels unto himself. He or she says, like I said, I don't know gender. We are the fallen angels kept in DNA chains of darkness. I like that. I really like the way that sounds. If you do not confess being a fallen angel and Lucifer's kingdom, then you are an unbeliever. An unbeliever equals those that claim to be made in the image of God. Still doesn't talk about Satan's casting out. Do you see how easy it is for people to start saying something and then just go? And like I said, that was 18 hours ago. And then I asked that person, I said, where in scripture can I read of DNA chains of darkness? I am not a fallen angel. I have free will. Angels don't. And as of 18 hours ago, they haven't responded back. And if you're sitting there saying, yeah, I heard that somewhere else, you already confessed to me that you didn't get it from the scriptures. It's teachings like this that deceive people. Okay. I mean, come on, people. It's like I said, it's real easy to run our mouths every day, all day, and try to tell people that, they're not relying on your understanding. So am I supposed to rely on that person's understanding? I don't think so. This is the book I've been telling you about, C.G. Jung, Symbols of Transformation. It's Christian, Babylonian stuff, very cool stuff. Like I stated, I found this in the trash and recycle where I was working at in the feds. Very informative book. I read that kind of stuff and I watch movies and I see the symbology in a lot of movies, mostly like, Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons and that kind of stuff. Here's another book from Mr. Armstrong. See, I do not deny where I get my stuff. If I've ever said, I think I remember reading this guy's book or, this person's book, but I don't deny it. And this is one of many ways to get what we're looking for. Okay. You can't just sit there at your church and just start believing the stuff that comes out of that person's mouth. Oh, before I forget, I looked up that Philip Arn, and condolences to his family. The man is dead. Okay. He's asleep in the earth, so to speak. But it still doesn't justify that all he did was just try to make Mr. Hawkins look bad. Like I stated, I do not need to defend anybody. Mr. Hawkins can still probably defend himself where he's laying right now. But I don't need to defend him. Okay. Let me share, again, I don't have nothing written down on paper because it never really works out. As y'all see, I have a real bad habit of starting somewhere and just going, okay. What does the house of Yahweh teach? Now, if these two gentlemen, Mr. Hawkins, Yisrayl and his brother Jacob, if they claim to be the true prophets, the two witnesses, two prophets, and they've shown, or mostly Mr. Hawkins, he's shown us the scriptures. So therefore, a lot of the times, like you see me going here a little bit, going there, back and forth in the videos and in the scriptures, that is how you get your answers. I made a video about it on how Mr. Hawkins tells us to study here a little and there a little. And he points out in Isaiah, to whom am I going to teach knowledge to? So you have to learn how to find the patterns as to who these people are. And speaking of the two witnesses, okay, what do they come teaching? Who are they? Where do I find them in my Bible? Okay, like I said, there are patterns, and these patterns was first brought to my attention by a Christian, a real nice guy, had a real funny beard like this, white dude. But when he told me the first time, I was like, I think he called it something like the Scarlet Thread or something like that, and I was like, I mean, I was green, I didn't know anything. He says it's something that goes through the scriptures. Eventually, it turned out to be that there's all these patterns that we have to follow, and like Yahweh told Moshe in the wilderness, see that you do it according to the pattern shown to you on the mountain. So once I was revealed to this, because this is the only way this works, is again, man can't teach you these things. We see the patterns, the similarities, the parallels, like another guy that was there told me, Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, if you're watching this, how you doing? Real nice guy also. He mentioned that word parallel to me. I said, okay, all right. So anyways, we see a lot of similarities from Genesis all the way across to pretty much Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay. On who was it that was it Lot? See, I can't remember a lot of things. Was it Lot who was separating the spotted goats from the white ones or whatever? Okay, that is a prophecy of the Messiah separating the saints and the sinners, pretty much. Okay, that is a prophetical sign. Now, before I get off the subject again, now we come to Aaron and Moses. Aaron and Moses were both Levites. Yahweh even told Moshe, is not Aaron the Levite your brother? He said, yes. Okay. He said, I will appoint him as a prophet to you, or as a witness to you. So Moshe being a mediator, Aaron wasn't. Okay. Like I said in the last video or the one before, I think when Moshe went up into the mountains to speak to Yahweh, and he got the 10 commandments, Aaron was at the bottom. He saw the people distraught. They were getting frustrated. They started committing these orgies and whatever lewd conduct. And then that is when he made the image of himself. He made a golden bull. There's a very prophetical significance as to why he made a golden bull. Okay, like I stated, he didn't make a golden monkey, a golden cat, a golden dog, a snake. And I say snake because Dan represents the snake, represents the tribe of Dan. That is a prophecy also shown to us through Mr. Hawkins that I haven't seen anywhere else. In Genesis 49, when the 12 sons were told the end result of their lives per se, or he said, I will show you of things to come in those last days. Dan will be a serpent by the way. Okay, so he didn't make any other tribal symbology to the people. There's a reason why he made the golden bull. Excuse me. There's a reason why he made a bull. A bull is a female cow, whatever. A calf, a bull, or a buffalo, because a buffalo is still in the family of the cattle, I assume. Okay, so we see these prophecies in the native people about the white buffalo, right? Doesn't mean an actual buffalo is going to come talking to the people. Okay, it just means that somewhere along the line, this white buffalo, this Levite, would come again and teach the pure laws, the unadulterated laws of Yahweh, because the natives have been found to have very similar attributes as the way the Jews do. Their wives, when they're on their monthly period, cannot sleep with the men on the same bed because everything they touch will become unclean. They have to sit somewhere else. As a matter of fact, I was reading one of the testimonies of an ex-member saying that the women at the house of Yahweh had to sit on these little pads or whatever on the pews. Well, yeah, I mean, if they're teaching us the laws of purity, I mean, you know what I mean? I guess the reason why they have the women and men separated is for the fact of not being distracted, because we still as carnal people will have the audacity to go look this way at another girl, or the women looking over at the men. I mean, if that doesn't happen in your churches, then I guess you guys are all right. But it does, it does occur. So Aaron and Moshe were both Levites. The buffalo or the bull was their symbol on their banner as they marched through the wilderness. Okay, now when they were marching, exactly, I can remember it's in Exodus or Numbers. The majority of the tribes got upset. They were thirsty. They were hungry. They were complaining, yapping about everything. So Yahweh told Moshe, I can't remember exactly what it is. You'll have to read it. Like I said, it's in Numbers or Exodus. Like I said, I didn't write nothing down, but it's all there. It's all in there. Okay. Matter of fact, I started doing a study this while I was in the feds, but I read enough to where I can tell you this. Moshe told the children of Israel. Now remember, when Yahweh called them out through Moshe, they were told the commandments and were told and commanded not to worship the hinder gods. And why hinder? Because hinder means those left behind. The gods they left behind. So when they were going to cross into the promised land, they were also told, per se, do not go and worship other gods like the gods you were worshiping in Egypt. So Yahweh told Moshe told them, you want to go back to being idolaters, being God worshippers? Go back to Egypt. Go. So when they went, the earth opened up, swallowed them up. The only ones who did not go back to idolatry were the Levites. It was a tribe of Levi. Okay? That is why if these two men profess themselves to be Levites, which according to an article that I read, he managed to find his bloodline, and it's supposedly from the tribe of Levi. Supposedly. And I think even his ex-wife brought it out. I can't remember. If you want to look for her book, her name's Kate or Kay Hawkins. Her book's called My Side of the Story, whatever. But I read her book and whatever. So if you notice the prophecy in Malachi chapter 2, it says, and Malachi 2 starting from 4, and you will know that I have sent the special command or charge to you so that my covenant might continue with Levi. Why with Levi? Because God worship is prohibited. Idolatry is prohibited. That is why we are being called out today from a modern day Egypt. We see the symbology worldwide. All this idolatry. We have the Cleopatra's Needle, the Sun Obelisk in New York. There's another one somewhere else. We have all these churches that represent pagan Egypt, pagan symbols, stars, moons, suns, crucifixes. We're in the modern day Egypt. That's what it says in the book of Revelation. Revelation 11:8. And the body of believers, the house of Yahweh, the one seed of the two witnesses, we are the seed because we are his children, we are his offspring, through the word. Into the streets of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Messiah was crucified or sacrificed. Okay? We live in a modern day Egypt, people. This is why we're being called out, is to worship Yahweh and his ways and his laws and commandments, and idolatry is 100% prohibited. No more wearing crucifixes, prayer cards, all that stuff is crap. It's a bunch of junk. Don't need it. Doesn't have any significance at all. You might have through your church, but not through the scriptures. Notice in verse 5, my covenant with him was a covenant of life and peace, And I gave them to him so that he might give reverence to me, and he reverenced me and stood in awe of my name. Okay. Now, the late Mr. Armstrong, Herbert Armstrong, like I said, I don't have it with me. So therefore, I can't really prove it to you, but at least I'm admitting it. I read in an article of his that he told one of his members, one of his associates, that he was Elijah the prophet, the actual prophet. Okay. And Christianity has put out doctrines, sermons about reincarnation and life after death. Well, I don't believe in reincarnation if it's not according to the wording of the scriptures. We die, we go to the grave, and then we are resurrected, like it says in the book of Daniel, and the Messiah even stated, and they will be resurrected, some to everlasting life and some to everlasting condemnation. Okay. And if your name's not written in the book of life, automatically to the lake of fire. Okay. Now, Mr. Hawkins can say he's a prophet, but at the same time, like I stated in an article, I don't have it on me again, so I can't prove it to you, but at least I'm admitting it, denied on several instances that he wasn't a prophet. He just told the people that he was this Elijah prophetical instance fulfilled. John denied being a prophet, even though he was, but he came to fulfill this prophecy in Malachi for the first time. Okay, and we must remember, people, like I've said it in the last video and before it, when you look up the prophecies of the two witnesses in Isaiah 44, man, this is like almost creepy. I opened it up again to Isaiah 44 about the water courses. That does mean Abilene. Look it up, people. Do your own research. I have that booklet here somewhere. I think it's in this one right here. Is that in that one? I just got this one. This is from Beyond Today, people. I've also read a lot of their stuff. Very enlightening, very cool stuff to read. Christians, but they're not telling you that all you have to do is just believe in Jesus Christ and you're automatically saved. Right here, got this whole little section on Abilene. See, Isaiah 44 and its meaning. There's a reason why they put this out. They put this teachings out, people. Okay? It is a fact that John did come teaching in an area known as Abilene or Abilene. Okay, so Yahweh is not going to send the actual flesh and blood and bone prophet Elijah or Elijah. Okay, because of the ever popular and authorized version of the King James, it makes you think that Elijah is coming back. Just like some of y'all think, was it Elijah? Was taken up to heaven. No, he was taken somewhere else. I've shown you that in one of my earlier videos. Enoch was not taken up to heaven because Hebrews 11 or Hebrews 13, I'll show it to you here again. Hebrews 11 mentions Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, and whoever else. And then in verse 13 it says, all these died in the faith. So no, people, just don't take one scripture. So, well, that's what it says right there. That's it, people. You know what I said a long time ago when I was in high school? I'm going to take this as a sign to myself. I was taking these tutorial classes because, like I said, I wasn't a straight A. I was mostly a B, C, and D student. But I was helping those with, with what I had as far as the computer courses were going. And I said, I will not teach those who do not want to learn. And our teacher, Mr. Allen, he looks like Jimmy Johnson. He says, I like that. And he put it on the board, and it was on there for a while. But so I tell people, look, man, if you don't want to pay attention, I can't help you, okay? So this Elijah, what is the Elijah ministry? As some of y'all might have heard. I don't know. But it's okay for you to start running your mouth and say, oh, that guy's a false prophet. He's not teaching the Christian doctrine. He's not teaching the Sunday laws. A false prophet, like it says in these books, is somebody with whom you don't agree with. That is exactly what a false prophet is. You know how harsh our Messiah was with people calling us fools and hypocrites? Crazy, huh? Like it says here, some define a true prophet, fruit bugs, as any preacher with whom they agree. If one says something that sounds strange or different from the religious statements that are accustomed to hearing, this will make that person a false prophet to them. Okay. People, I've read the Christian doctrines. The Catholic world doesn't have any scriptural doctrines anyways, but Christianity has always taught against Yahweh, his name, Yeshua's name, and the teachings of the Messiah, which were all based on the law and the prophets. Okay. I have broken down to y'all the name of Elijah, and I've shown y'all that the most of these names are compound names. Like in the English, Malachi, what does it mean? I don't know. A malak, as I told y'all, is a messenger, not necessarily a person with wings. Malak means messenger, and the suffix Yah is Yahweh, messenger of Yahweh. Just like when people say, oh, I'm going to name our firstborn son John. Why? Because it's got to do something with God's name. Can't even describe it. If I was already a member of the house of Yahweh and to have a kid, I think they help you choose names over there. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been there. But anyways, so this Elijah ministry, if y'all had read like the story of 1 Kings 17, like I told you, Elijah, he's, I think, my favorite prophet. There's a lot of parallels to where he was going and doing like the Messiah was. Okay? Excuse me. So this Elijah, because of the house of Yahweh and because of Mr. Hawkins, broke down for us in these booklets, I forget which one already, okay, what that word means and what it signifies. How many of your churches can do that? Well, no, he told me he was Elijah the prophet. Like I said in the last video, I'll slap you in your face. Again, my condolences to that Mr. Arn and his family, okay? But it still doesn't justify the fact that he's ignorant of a lot of things. So this Elijah, Eli means strength, and Yah means Yahweh, the strength of Yahweh. And I've shown you on my videos that this is the Elijah that was to come, and this is made simple in Matthew 11, 13, and 14 that says, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to accept it, this is the strength of Yahweh, Elijah, which was to come. He who has ears, let him hear. Okay? Now, if you're reading Romans 1:16, for I am not ashamed of the message, for it is the strength of Yahweh, and your King James says the power of God, unto life everlasting for everyone who believes, to the Yadai first, and also to the Greek. For in this message is the righteousness. What is righteousness? Deuteronomy 6:25, the keeping of Yahweh's laws, of Yahweh revealed, originating from the faith and leading to the faith, as it is written, the just will live by the faith. Some of y'all have just read those things and oh man, these are pretty scriptures. I I know I've come across a lot of Christians. Oh, there are very nice scriptures, but do you know what they mean? Can you find the key words and phrases as you read these things? Probably not. If y'all would see, if y'all were to see, I'm going to pick a random one here out of my box. See, I mean, even this stuff, look at all my notes in there. Well, you can't, it's kind of hard to see with the light in the back, but if you were to see, I have a lot of stuff underlined and I have stuff pointed out. I mean, I make my own notes, people. Okay, but what I'm trying to show y'all is how they break down. Well, this probably book is a lot better. How they break down a lot of keywords and phrases, and they give you articles as to where they're getting their stuff from. See, look at that. How many of your studies that you all get through mail do something like this? Probably none. Okay, they're showing you the meanings from the concordances and our other publications as to where they get this stuff, and they give you the author, the publishing date, the year, the address, the link online, because a lot of the stuff you can find online now. You know, how many of your preachers can do that? Probably none. Oh no, but Mr. Hawkins is a false prophet, but because he goes against what you've been taught as a modern day Christian. Okay, so yeah, he's not proclaiming to be the actual physical Elijah like Mr. Armstrong did and others probably before him, but he's telling you what that word means in its original Hebrew. You can't get any better, people, than this kind of stuff. Okay, so he made, according to that article by the late Mr. Arn, somehow it just keeps going back to Isaiah 44. He pointed out the prophecies, but couldn't break it down for you, right? I think I have it here. Yeah, he did make mention. Yeah, Isaiah 49:8. In this article that I read in the last video, he says, or rather he's quoting what Mr. Hawkins says. He says, yes, Yahweh now has only one work under his one remaining witness, Yisrayl, his prophesied spokesman, who will continue to perform all the will of Yahweh, just as Yeshua Messiah came as a covenant to the people in these last days. And he's quoting Isaiah 49:8. Now, the one spokesman, okay, why one if it's two witnesses only? Allow me to explain. When Aaron and Moshe were around, right? Aaron died and Moshe was left. In the times of Yeshua, John the Baptist was beheaded, right? And Yeshua was left behind. Patterns, people. Jacob died for practicing the customs of the East, God worship, so the beastly system killed him. And Yisrael was the last one. Okay? Patterns, people. Patterns, patterns, patterns. But notice, I'm going to knock this down. If you have even read the prophecies and how they work and what Yeshua taught, they do go hand in hand with what is being said here in Isaiah 49. Let me read it to you, because this is so much more better and much more smoother, people. In Isaiah 49 says, listen, O isles, countries to me, listen, you peoples from afar. Yahweh has called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother. He has made mention of my name. And if you read in Isaiah 44, 1 and 2, it says the same thing. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yisrael, whom I have chosen. This is what Yahweh says, who made you and formed you from the womb. He will help you, do not be afraid. Jacob, my servant, and Yeshurun. Yeshurun is another name for Yisrael. In your Bible says Jeshurun, whom I have appointed. Okay. Verse 2, Isaiah 49:2. And he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand he has hidden me and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver he has hidden me. Yeshua has the double-edged sword, right? I think we read in Revelation 19 about the fifth horseman. Oh, I already went too far. My Bible's coming apart already. Revelation 19:15 says, and out of his mouth goes a sharp two-edged sword. This is the prophecy of the Messiah, the true and faithful Messiah. Your first horseman is Christianity. He said to me, you are my servant, O Yisrael, through whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain, I have spent my strength for nothing, and in vain, yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh, and my work with my Father. And now Yahweh says, who formed me from the womb? Yeah, he formed every single one of us in the womb. But he is talking about a particular person here, who formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring the people of Jacob back to him, because the descendants of Israel are not yet gathered. The descendants of Israel. Right now, they're all scattered. I am honored in the eyes of Yahweh, and my Father is my strength. And he said, it is not enough that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the protected of Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, so you may be my salvation to the ends of the earth. The Messiah was a light to the tribes of Israel, right? So this prophet here is also a light. This is what I'm willing to bet anybody who has ever proclaimed to be Elijah the prophet probably didn't even bring this prophecy out to y'all, right? This, I don't want to lie to y'all, I don't think it was actually brought out in any of the booklets, but no, it was. It's actually not in a booklet, but in a prophetic word magazine. Okay. This is what Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel, their Holy One, says to join him, to him whom man despises, to whom the nations abhor, to the servant the rulers, kings will see and arise, princes also will worship, because of Yahweh who was faithful, the Holy One of Israel, and he has chosen you. This is what Yahweh says, and in an acceptable time I have heard you, and in the day of salvation I have helped you. I will protect you and give you as a covenant to the people. What do we read in Malachi? Some of you are probably taking notes now, huh? Y'all should be, anyways. Malachi 2:5. My covenant with him was a covenant of life and peace. And verse 4 says, so that my covenant may continue with Levi. Okay. So you see now why the house of Yahweh had that buffalo, in the back of where Mr. Hawkins would sit and give the sermons. Okay. So, to the descendants of Israel, now if you go over to Revelation 11, Revelation 11:9. And they take out of the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations into the house of Yahweh, turning them to Yahweh for 3.5 years, because they will not allow this body of believers of the two witnesses to be placed into the tomb. Peoples, nations, tongues, and languages. I read in some of the articles where they had people from like Africa and overseas somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. So now I can sit here and break these down for y'all. Restore the protected of Israel. Okay. The thing is, people, if you do not understand prophecy, then I am, like it says in 1 Corinthians, I think 14, and speaking about prophecy and tongues. If I interpret for you, but you don't understand, I mean, what's the point? Okay. A lot of people, again, believe that to prophesy means to predict the future, and that's not what it is. Mr. Hawkins has said over and over again, nobody can predict the future. Okay? All right. So, the house of Yahweh, through these two prophets, did bring us the light. A lot of people don't know what the light is. Okay? And allow me to share that with you again. What is the light? What is the word? And what is the truth? Isaiah 8:20, which is probably one of my all-time favorites, says, Isaiah 8:20, to the law and to the prophecy, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. If your preacher's sitting there or standing there at your church and you're sitting there like a mushroom, not giving you the light, then prophecy fulfilled. You are being kept in the dark, being fed all kinds of caca. Okay. Like I told y'all in one of the last few videos, the light, which is the law, lights our path. It's just like a guide giving you a tour through a cave. If he just takes you just like that, that is the blind leading the blind. But if he's taking you with a flashlight, then he's lighting your way till you see where not to stand or to sit, or rather to walk and not to step on. Okay. So the law works the same way. It is a light to our feet. Okay. So the law and the prophets, people, is the light. And for those of you who were told that the laws were done away with, then you are walking in darkness. See how easy that is? Let's see. Psalm 119, verse 142. Your law is very pure. And your servants love it. I was 140, I'm sorry. 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, because your law is the truth. 151. You are near, O Yahweh, and all your laws are the truth. I know there's more than that, but I'm pointing out to the other ones I already have highlighted. Let's see. Yes. Notice in Psalm 119, 105. But notice in verse 98. Your laws make us wiser than our enemies, because they are possession at all times. We have more understanding than all our teachers, because your testimonies are our meditation. And what is the testimony of Yahweh? The law and the prophets. Oh. Man, I took a pain medication last night, and my back was really killing me. Notice in Psalm 119, 105, your law is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. Notice in Psalm 119, 130, the unfolding of your law gives light to give understanding to the simple. Again, people, if you were taught that the laws were done away with, you are now in darkness. Okay. So, who else is teaching you the laws of our Bible, people, as a light? Okay. Who else is bringing to you the prophecies and, in the Old Testament, per se? Okay. Yes, a lot of people, there's a lot of ministries that are putting this stuff out, but have a lot of trouble putting these things in order. All they do is just, they list them out like this, watch. All they just pretty much do is just put something like this out, but never fully explain how they work or in what order they are. They, like I said in one of my last videos, they still think that we're waiting for the seals to be opened. Yeah, look at that. I hand wrote almost a book. I copied this book called The Mark of the Beast, Volume 2, from the House of Yahweh. And then here it explains the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 3 woes. Maybe I need to start reading from here. I don't know. Like I said, if you guys don't comment, don't ask questions, I'm going to keep moving forward with whatever I feel to put on here. Okay. 3.5 years to the middle, plagues upon the earth, Satan is cast out. Man, this is a lot of great stuff. I have the first volume as well, copied as well. But anyways, so again, let me continue more here on the witnesses. See what else we got here. It is supposedly known that the House of Yahweh has gone over to Jerusalem and have measured the foundation to the House of Yahweh, or the temple of Yahweh. Okay. These you can cross-reference to the prophecies in Ezekiel, when Ezekiel was taken in a vision to Jerusalem, and where it says, I can't really remember the chapter, but he was shown a building to the south of the foundation, which is today the building where the I don't even know what it's called. I forgot. I do have a booklet on it on rebuilding the temple, but the Al Mosque, something like that. It's that little octagonal shaped building that the Arabs have there, or whatever they are. Okay. So, anyways, okay, here in 11:3 Revelation, I will give to my two witnesses to perform the prophetic offices, not power, and they will foretell events about the 3.5 years those cast about with darkness, clothed in sackcloth. Same difference. Notice these are as it were the two olives in the book of Zechariah, and as it were the two olive trees, and as it were the two lamps of the seven lamp lampstand ministering for the Father in the earth. The seven lamp lampstand, you go back to the first chapter of Revelation, and it mentions to you the seven lamp lampstand. It says, in the midst of the seven lamp lampstand, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment unto his feet, with a girdle of gold about his chest. His voice sounded like many waters. And in his right hand he had 7 stars, which are the 7 congregations of the house of Yahweh. They're not churches, people. 7 stars, and out of his mouth when a sharp two-edged sword. Okay. Let's see. These are as it were the 2 olive trees, and as it were the 2 lamps of the 7 lamp lampstand ministering for the Father in the earth. And if any among them determines in his mind to commit sin, the every word of Yahweh, the law and the prophets, like the two-edged sword of fire, proceeds out of the mouth of the spokesman of them, and he devours their enemies. And if any among them should continue to commit sin in this manner, it is binding for him to be destroyed. Okay, this is how we're being taught, is to destroy our enemies. Our enemies are the ones who go and oppose Yahweh and his laws and his teachings. So I always tell people, you're going to say something. First of all, you want to ask me a question in the right way, go ahead, in my comments. But if you're going to start running your mouth like this guy did, he still can't answer, because what he said is all doo-doo. Okay? Consider, people, what it is I'm sharing with y'all. Take notes, look them up, rewind the video. Don't just sit there and say, yeah, whatever, next video. That's probably what a bunch of y'all are doing anyways. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I made mention a while back that we saw a video, as a matter of fact. This is already after I knew what them breathing fire meant. It was a real great video. Like I said, I watched a lot of stuff for the purposes of learning. We were in the feds, and in the chapel, of course, it was just a regular building, but that is where the Christians and Catholics had their services every Sunday. And I went and I sat with one of the group organizers. Omar was his name. And we just sat there, we just watched. We didn't share no comments, nothing. And there was in one of the series, I think they were the Tim LaHaye series, real nice, very cool videos, as a matter of fact. They show the 2 witnesses over in Jerusalem, and they go, wow, and fire comes out of their mouth. They do not do that, people. That is an impossibility. Some of y'all might be saying, well, all things are possible with God. I'll slap you in your ear. No, people, they do not actually breathe physical fire. That is impossible. Okay. These hold Yahweh's authority to shut up the heaven in order that rainfall does not rain in the days of the prediction, and Yahweh's authority they have over the people, over the waters, to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every plague as often as provided they should will. Okay. I was talking about, I think in the last video or the one before it, on Mr. Arn's article about the rain. I made mention of the symbology of like being baptized with the law as with water through baptism. So I believe, and this is just my opinion, okay, because obviously I haven't really looked into it, so I wouldn't lie to you. I believe that this rainfall means that you cannot receive the Holy Spirit while they're predicting, okay, or while they're per se talking and making these predictions, okay. People are being baptized through the house of Yahweh, but it does not mean they're withholding back the waters, because like I said yesterday, it was raining in the Rio. I mean, if it wasn't raining, if it hasn't been raining in Abilene, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. All right. Notice here, and you can cross-reference Revelation 11:7 to Jeremiah 28:9. I'll look it up here. And whenever they will have finished the evidence written about them, completely performing their testimony concerning future events, the beast, the same which ascends out of the abyss, he will make war with them, and he will overcome them, and he will kill them. Well, eventually both men died already. Okay, they're not immortal. Nobody ever said they were immortal. They didn't say they were immortal. But like I said about Jacob was teaching the customs of the East, which is the beastly system. Okay, let's see here. Let me look it up. It says in Isaiah. No. I know it's in Isaiah, but it's not chapter 2. Oh, my bad. I was reading verse 2. You have forsaken your people. Now this is a prophecy of the house of Yahweh. Isaiah verse 2 through 4. But notice here, starting from 6, Isaiah 2:6. You have forsaken your people, the house of Jacob. It's speaking to Jacob, because they are filled with customs from the east. There you go. They are soothsayers like the Philistines, and they are pleased in the children of strangers. Okay. Customs from the east are not the customs or the traditions of the house of Yahweh, or the law of Yahweh. A soothsayer is y'all's preachers who use nice and soothing words, okay, prohibited in the scriptures. Notice also in verse 7, their way is also full of silver and gold, nor is there any end to their treasuries. Their land is also full of horses, nor is there any end to their chariots. Their way is also full of gods. Elohim, they worship the work of their hands, that which their own fingers have made. Now, if y'all remember what I told y'all earlier about Aaron also teaching idolatry, God worship to the children of Israel in the Exodus, because Moses was taking his time. Well, not taking his time, he was talking to Yahweh. He was being delayed, per se, they thought he was. So Aaron presented God worship again to the children of Israel after Yahweh had called them out of that. Okay, so this guy here, this witness, did the same thing. Now, I know I said earlier about Moshe. Aaron died, Moshe was left behind. Yakin, John was beheaded. Yeshua was left behind. Jacob died first, and then Mr. Hawkins did. Okay, but Yeshua nor John, or John rather, in this case, didn't teach idolatry to the people. But then again, he wasn't a Levite. Okay, so that is where that prophecy is at. about Jacob. Okay, so there you go, people. As well as, let's see, notice in verse 10, Revelation 11:10, it says, "Then those residing throughout the earth will observe Yahweh's feasts and the reverence for Yahweh because of them, for they have a mind of understanding to do that which is right. And Yahweh's tithes and offerings they will bestow themselves together who are of Yahweh, because these two prophets proclaim the every word of Yahweh, the law and the prophets, to those residing through the earth." Yes, they are. Who else is teaching you the law and the prophets, people? If you have a preacher proclaiming you to be Elijah, who's supposedly teaching you these things, but you're still going to church on Sunday, automatically, no, you're wrong. If you're still going to church on Sunday, your priest proclaimed to be a prophet while you're still eating pork and all these things that are prohibited, all these meats, not foods, then automatically you're wrong. Okay, this restoration has only been brought out through the house of Yahweh. Again, because you have been taught one thing doesn't mean it's right. But all of a sudden, here comes these two little dudes and teaching people, hey, Yahweh is the name we should be obeying, listening to, and believing in, and the name Yeshua, and then they bring out all these teachings. They contradict what you were taught. Me, like I told you, I didn't know anything, like literally nothing about my Bible. As I stated in one of the videos, all I ever think remembering was one time that I was in church, here at our Catholic church, I was telling myself, the Sabbath is on Saturday, why are we coming to church on Sunday? I remember thinking that to myself while I was in there. And in church, when I was like around 11, 12, 13, somewhere under, that is when I first read the name of Yahweh in a hymnal, in one of the songs that we were singing. And I asked the lady teacher there, I said, ma'am, I said, who's that? I said, who's Yahweh? And she told me, oh, that's the name of God. But she didn't know that Yahweh and God are two different beings. I was like, okay, cool. God has a name. And of course, as I found out through the book of Daniel, and as I stated, the house of Yahweh has proclaimed that through all their teachings, but they didn't point out in the chapter in Daniel chapter 6, which describes that Yahweh is not a God. So, like I stated, the house of Yahweh covers a lot of these things either directly or indirectly, but they have answered all my questions. Okay, I couldn't sit here and tell you, I couldn't sit here if I didn't mumble or stutter. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to use my Bible. That wasn't my calling back then. I mean, even when I went to the Church of the Mormons or Latter-day Saints, they didn't learn anything. All I learned was about Nephi and Lehi and Sehi and Joseph Smith. And all. I mean, okay, he was a prophet. I didn't even know what a prophet was. I just accepted it blindly. And, but like I said, yeah, they're a bunch of nice people. They really are. I ain't got nothing bad to say about them. They're just ignorant and blind like everybody else. But I'm not going to sit here and proclaim Mr. Hawkins a false prophet when everything I've learned, 99% of it comes through him from the house of Yahweh. Like I said, directly and or indirectly. Okay. If you don't have your studies like I showed you in my video, don't sit here and tell people they're wrong. Okay. This is like almost like being a lawyer. Okay, I mean, I don't teach you all the laws because that's not my responsibility. Okay, but I can tell you that a lot of things that I already do and don't do, I can tell you, I can share those things with you. I don't eat pork because it was never meant to be eaten. It's filth. It's garbage. Catfish, shrimp, crab, lobster, clams, oysters, octopus, calamari, all that stuff is caca. And the rest of you, because you think you're right, well, my pastor said everything was cleansed. Your pastor is lying to you. Go over there and go whack. Okay, don't go over there and slap them. I don't condone violence, but It is, people. It is what it is. Our Father did not break his covenant. Yeshua did not do away with the laws. And Mr. Hawkins has even said in a lot of his studies, there's a lot of churches that are teaching the Ten Commandments to the people. Find that one that does that if you don't want to come to the house of Yahweh. There are very few out there teaching people about Sunday, that it is not the Sabbath, but the Sabbath is. Even the word Sabbath has the name Abba in it, signifying and telling you that that is our Father's day of worship. I'll even spell it out backwards for y'all. S-A-B-B-A. Abba is Father in Hebrew. Sunday doesn't mean anything. That's the day of the sun. Okay. So again, people, my hour is up. Like I said, you see now how I can put these things together without doing a systematic way of teaching. I don't need to do it like that. Okay, I am studied well enough to back myself up almost 100% of the time. But even then, I use my other phone to look it up if I can't find myself or find the scriptures. Okay, so again, people, like I stated, my condolences to Philip Arn and his family. Man passed away a few years back, but it still doesn't justify that he's an idiot. He's blind. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay. No, I take that back. He's not an idiot. He's just blind and ignorant. Okay. And for the rest of y'all who want to proclaim anybody as a false prophet without doing your own research, your own studying, don't open your mouth, people. Because even like a lot of Christians and Catholics will tell you, when you call people names, it hurts people. It really does. Okay, that's why I just said I take back calling Mr. Philip anything bad. But he's still ignorant and blind and has failed to see the symbology behind a lot of these things in our Bibles. Okay, so I take back what I said for anybody, towards anybody. But do not come forth with your statements if you don't have your research with you. Okay, I already put a lot of the stuff away. Okay, but that is the majority, I think, of all my research that I have here. Excuse me. Had I brought everything with me from the feds, I kid you not, I would have had, here's a table. I would have had about that much more on either side of me and probably all around me on this table of research. A lot of it stayed with me, a lot of it didn't. Probably the very unimportant stuff, probably stuff that didn't make any sense, and probably a bunch of lies anyways. Okay. So, again, feel free to ask questions. Hey, Oli, where can I find this? Where can I find that? I will help you. I will do my hardest to help you. I have nothing to do. I'm at home. My bag's all messed up. I mean, not completely, right? But I'm doing portraits, as a matter of fact. No, don't ask for one. I went out and bought some more stuff, some pencils and whatever. And I'm doing portraits for some of my friends and family. Yeah, I can draw a little bit, you know. I got my guitar here with me. I got my studies. As you can see, I'm a YouTuber. I have another channel where I haven't even put up any more stuff, me playing the guitar. But I have time, people. I have time to answer some of y'all's questions, help you find things. But like I said, please keep them respectable. You say, hey, Oli, where can I find this? I was talking to my mom. She said this. If I have the answers, I will give them to you freely. Freely we have given, freely we will give return. Okay? I will do my best to help y'all out, people. But if you're going to sit there not asking any questions or whatever, you're never going to know. You remember, like we were taught in school, the only dumb question is the one question you never ask. Okay? There are no dumb questions, people. I am not going to sit here and ridicule you, roll my eyes at you. Oh, look at what this guy put. Unless you're people like that. Talking about you're being an angel and chained in DNA, chains of darkness. Wow. I really like that comment. That sounds very cool, but still hasn't responded. Okay? If you're going to make comments like this, be prepared for me to ask you, show me the scriptures where you read that. Okay? I do not have time to deal with people's comment or opinions, rather. Comments, yes. Okay. Y'all can see that those comments if you think I'm lying in the video of has Satan been cast out of heaven in my videos, okay? Obviously, this person, I don't know where they got their teachings from, but let's look at something up real quick. This person has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos so far in a year. And I've got how many in about 2 years? Over 100. I'm not boasting, I'm just saying, okay? So, and people, I hope, again, this helps clarify the supposed false prophecies that Yisrayl Hawkins was using and not using. And, but like I said, you're all free agents in this world to believe whatever you want. But if it's not based in scripture, then when your time comes, I'm just saying, per se, if you're standing right there in front of Yahweh and Yeshua, and you say, well, my pastor said it was Sunday, they're going to look at you like, Sunday is not the day of worship. Whatever lies, people, you have, clarify them or prove them right or prove them wrong in your Bible. Here a little and there a little. Okay? So again, people, we are about, I guess, as far as I know, we're being given a choice. We are under no obligation to believe everything by force through the house of Yahweh. We're all given a choice here. But we are also told, even by Mr. Hawkins, to prove all things for ourselves. Okay? And if you never prove anything for yourself in your church or in your Bible study, and all you do is just share cute and personal testimonies, you need to get out of there quick. You're going to end up nowhere. Oh, I love cold coffee. It's great. But anyways, so again, feel free to like and subscribe. Post any comments, questions. Feel free to share with your family and your friends. And say, yeah, man, this guy's harsh. I am harsh, people. But like I said a few videos back, I don't really believe that our Messiah was walking around like you see in the movies of Hollywood, talking in a real nice voice. I don't believe he was talking like that. I really don't. Hollywood makes your Jesus sound like that. You know, but I truly believe that he was probably 10 times more harsh than I am speaking to. Say, hey, like when they told him, hey, Yeshua, why your disciples don't wash your hands when they eat? And why do you worry about breaking the laws, your own laws, instead of following the laws of Yahweh? I really don't think he said, well, why are you worried about your own laws and not worrying about the laws? I don't believe he spoke like that. No way. And I really truly believe that he probably got into people's faces and said, hey, that's not what it is. Okay. So stop pretending to be real nice saints when you're not, people. Okay. Okay. All right. So again, I will look through all my stuff here. And I shouldn't make any plans. When tomorrow comes, I'll already have another video brought forth to y'all. So I hope this helps clarify again these things that the house of Yahweh has proclaimed. Everybody here is a free agent to believe whatever they want. You want to believe Mr. Hawkins? That's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Like I said, more power to you. Okay, but like I stated, these guys are but the only guys that I can come across, and I only would that I had the booklets, and I'm going to order them, as a matter of fact, from Mr. Armstrong, where they misquote scripture deliberately. They use it completely from the King James in one page, and then a few pages up forward, they take words out of it. That is a fact. I'm going to look for those books. I think it's about the USA and Britain and prophecy. Okay? Be careful, people. If you don't pay attention to that stuff, then they can pass anything by you. Okay? Be very aware of what you're studying. Read it very carefully. I can only kick myself in my own ass because my dad would tell me these things. Read carefully what you read when you're in school and the books you read, because you can miss a lot of things, people. My dad was right about me about that the whole time. And now I can sit here and say, I'm sorry, Dad. I should have paid attention. I graduated from school, but I should have paid more attention like the way I do now to when I read these things. Okay? So again, people, be like the Bereans. Search your scriptures to see if what you're being told is in there. Okay? If you're going to sit there and just, think you've done a great deed when you go to church on Sunday, yeah, that's it. No, people. Okay? I can sit here almost assuredly and tell you you're not learning anything in your churches. None of them. Nothing. Okay? So again, I leave you with this video. In the next video, cover something else. I'll see what I can dig up. Okay? You all have a great day.